Hello, and welcome to Dale Simmons Photography Studios product review. Today, we're going to talk about the FujiFilm Finepix S1. Now, this is a bridge camera, not to be confused with a pocket carry, point and shoot, and not a full-blown interchangeable lens DSLR. However, it has some features in this thing that's going to absolutely blow you away. Has its shortcomings too, and for a few dollars more for some minor accessories, which we'll talk about, you can make your pictures just explode. I tell you, you're going to see some great shots. I'm going to talk to you about the actual camera, what it can do, its pros, its cons, and then we'll let you make the decision. And the big key is, this is not a $1,000 camera. You can pick these things up for roughly around $300, $350, $400, somewhere in that price range, depending where you are. And I tell you, you're not going to be disappointed as long as you understand its shortcomings and how to overcome them. So, without further ado, let's get into this thing. So let's take a look at the good first. This particular camera is a quick shooting bridge camera with a nice 50x zoom, built-in Wi-Fi, excellent build quality, and weather resistant. It has lots of shooting options and extras like hot shoe, vari-angle LCD, EVF, raw capture, and manual controls. Here's some of the bad. It's noisy above 400 ISO. It gives soft photos in low light conditions indoors, which might be hard to reconcile given its price. And also the mobile app could use some love there. The bottom line is, it's the only weather resistant 50x mega zoom camera around. The FujiFilm Finepix S1 is a fast, flexible camera that comes up a little short in the low light photo quality. Like the 2013's Finepix SL1000, the S1 features a 50x zoom lens going from 24mm to 1200 millimeters, but with an improved 2.8 to f5.6 aperture range instead of the f2.9 to 6.5. The 16 megapixel Cosmos sensor behind the lens and vari-angle 3-inch LCD and electronic viewfinder both carry resolutions of 920K. Fujifilm states there are approximately 70 areas on the body that are sealed. To go with all those seals, the body has a pleasingly slightly rubberized feel, a large right hand grip, so even if your hands are a little wet or cold, it doesn't feel slippery. It also gives a higher end look and feel compared to the plastically mega zooms like the Nikon P600. Okay, this camera is not particularly good at ISOs above 400, however, operates very well at 400 and below. As noise reduction gets stronger and smear details making subjects a little soft at small sizes, there can also be a significant amount of purple fringing in high contrast areas. However, shooting in RAW format, you can control the noise and some of the fringing can be edited out. But again, it really comes down to what you're going to do with your photos. For web use or prints up to 8x10 or slightly larger, your results will be pleasing. The video is similarly nice in daylight, but not so good in dim conditions. The camera can record in full HD at 60 frames a second. Though the Finepix can be used as a straightforward point and shoot, there are two auto modes, with or without scene recognition. Selectable apertures go from f2.8 to f11. Now, to me, that's a shortcoming. I like to shoot a lot of photos using a variable ND filter, which I want to jack the apertures up to f22, and this stops at f11. However, it can still be accomplished by raising your variable ND filter to the higher levels, almost up to like a 10-stop range. There is a scene position mode with the usual suspects like portrait, landscape, sport, and fireworks. You'll also find an advanced mode which gives you the opportunity for the camera to shoot HDR and put them together. Very similar like the A77 Sony. It also gives you a low-nose HDR zoom bracketing and 10 advanced filters like toy, screen, fisheye, miniature, pop color, dynamic tone, partial color, high key, low key, and soft focus. Lastly, the S1 has built-in Wi-Fi and a button to activate it, but it can be used to back up photos to a PC and connect to your smartphone. You can actually have it browse the images on your camera and upload them to your smartphone or tablet via the FujiFilm Camera Remote app. As the name implies, the app, which is available for Android and iOS, can remotely control the camera. You can't change the settings, however, and that's one of the shortcomings with this application. But you can control the lens and snap photos or start and stop video recording and set self-timer and turn on the flash. Although, you'll have to pop it up first. It also gives you live view from the camera as you see what you're getting ready to shoot. To wrap this thing up, the FujiFilm Finepix S1 is basically your only choice right now if you want a 50x mega zoom lens on a camera that's protected from all the elements. Well, I know that was long and a lot of technical mumbo jumbo stuff, but you know, I wanted to get all that information out, and you've been seeing some of the photos that it takes. Now, some of the things that I don't like about this is the limit of the f11. I like to take it up to f16, f22, and on up. However, for what you're getting with this camera, you can work around that by using a variable ND filter and taking it up to the higher f-stop, like 6 or 8 or even 10 f-stops at f11, and you'll still get the desired results if you want to add like mist to a waterfall or something like that. Now, earlier I was talking about for a couple of dollars or a few dollars, you can add a filter assembly to take ND filters and your CPLs and stuff like that, and your standard filters. However, Sony, in their infinite wisdom, which I don't understand, does not have an internal threaded ring. You have to buy a special adapter. It's called an RNS1. I don't know why they did it that way, and it was probably a marketing decision on this, but basically you just put it on here and then lock it, twist it, and it'll lock right in. Now with that, it takes the inner threaded ring now to a 72 millimeter. Now you can use a step-up ring, which is what I do. All my professional filters are 77s. Basically, you just take your 72 to 77 step-up ring, pop it on there, and now you're ready to use whatever filters you have. I wouldn't recommend doing a step-down because you can get some vignette. But a step-up ring, you won't have any problems. And then basically, if you want to use like a Tiffin or a higher-end CPL polarizer, then you take your 77 filters and you screw them on, and there you go. You're all set. Then what I did is I picked up another 77 millimeter cover. Now it says Canon on it, but not a big deal. So you have your filters on, and then that way wherever you go, you're all set and you got your cover on that and you're ready to go. This camera also boasts several built-in features very similar to the A77 for special effects, where you can get black and white, green only, and features like that, where you set up your shot and anything that's green will show green, but everything else will be black and white that's not green. It has those type of things in it. One of the things I like is the Panoramic View. Again, very similar to the A77 Sony. It has the advanced setting, which allows it to shoot an HDR, and it'll stitch the photo together for you. It also has AEB, where you can set up your AEB for your auto bracketing to where you can set your range to 3 f-stops or whatever that you want to do. Some of the things I don't like. One of the things, it doesn't have 2 adjustment knobs here for aperture and shutter speed. It has a button up here. Now this button has to be pressed, and you look at it and it'll tell you if it's on the aperture adjustment part where the wheel will adjust the aperture, or if it's on the shutter part where you can adjust the shutter speed. So you have to be cognizant of where that is. Your auto burst button is a setting here right next to that. So one of the problems is they're so small, you can hit the wrong one when you're looking through the viewfinder. Another feature I don't like, where I like from the Sony A77, is you have to toggle in and out of the EVF versus the LCD. So if you want to look through the viewfinder, you have to make sure that you're off the LED, so you have to press that. For instance, the A77 Sony, you put your eye up to it, it knows to switch over. This one you have to manually do it. But again, there's a significant cost difference between these two. You have two telephoto zoom controls, one's here, or you can do it up by the shutter. It has an articulating screen where you can set it to where you want to go. However, it's limited to side, where it doesn't come up like the Sony A77 and some of the other cameras, but it still works really well. The EVF also has a side adjustment wheel on the left-hand side to enable to focus your particular eyesight through the viewfinder and adjust it where you want it, which is a great feature. Most point and shoot don't have that. You just look through it and shoot, or most people are looking at the LCD. But it is there. They thought about that and put it in, and all these features, all these features that are wrapped up into a mega zoom bridge weatherproof camera. Now, waterproof, weatherproof. I was caught in a downpour the other day shooting at a lake, and at first I panicked because I shoot with Canons and other basically high-end DSLRs. You get them caught in a rain situation, you got problems. This is weather sealed, and as Sony said, they have 70 seals within this camera to make it weather resistant for dust, water. So in the rain, I didn't even think about it. All I thought about was making sure that the lens didn't get spots, and I continued my shoot. Well, that about wraps up the FujiFilm Finepix S1. I can't give it a 5 under no circumstances. However, for a bridge camera mega zoom, it is pretty dang good. It takes decent photos, and by going into the manual mode and making some minor changes, maybe adding a polarizer filter to it and that adapter setup, and shooting in RAW, really will enhance your photo experience, and I think you'll be very well pleased. So as we say here at Dale Simmons Photography Studios, happy shooting.